Brought to you by Penguin.
A Rage in Harlem by Chester Himes. Read by Samuel L. Jackson.
Chapter 1. Hank counted the stack of money. It was a lot of money. 150 brand new $10 bills. He looked at Jackson through cold yellow eyes. "You give me 15 C's, right?" He wanted it straight. It was strictly business. He was a small, dapper man with mottled brown skin and thin, straightened hair. He looked like business. "That's right," Jackson said. $1,500. It was strictly business with Jackson, too. Jackson was a short, black, fat man with purple-red gums and pearly-white teeth made for laughing. But Jackson wasn't laughing. It was too serious for Jackson to be laughing. Jackson was only 28 years old, but it was such serious business that he looked a good 10 years older. "You want me to make you 15 G's, right?" Hank kept after him. "That's right," Jackson said. $15,000. He tried to sound happy, but he was scared. Sweat was trickling from his short, kinky hair. His round black face was glistening like an 8-ball. "My cut'll be 10%. 15 C's, right?" "That's right. I pays you $1,500 for the deal." "I take 5% from my end," Jody said. "That's $750, okay?" Jody was a working stiff, a medium-sized, root-colored, rough-skinned, muscular boy dressed in a leather jacket and GI pants. His long, thick hair was straightened on the ends and burnt red, and nappy at the roots where it grew out black. But it hadn't been cut since New Year's Eve, and this was already the middle of February. One look at Jody was enough to tell that he was strictly a square. "Okay," Jackson said. "You get $750 for your end." It was Jody who had got Hank to make all this money for him. "I gets the rest," Imabelle said. The others laughed. Imabelle was Jackson's woman. She was a cushion-lipped, hot-bodied, banana-skinned chick with the speckled brown eyes of a teaser and the high-arched, ball-bearing hips of a natural-born amante. Jackson was as crazy about her as moose for dough. They were standing around the kitchen table. The window looked out on 142nd Street. Snow was falling on the ice-locked piles of garbage stretching like levees along the gutters as far as the eye could see. Jackson and Imabelle lived in a room down the hall. Their landlady was at work, and the other roomers were absent. They had the place to themselves. Hank was going to turn Jackson's 150 $10 bills into 150 $100 bills. Jackson watched Hank roll each bill carefully into a sheet of chemical paper, stick the roll into a cardboard tube shaped like a firecracker, and stack the tubes in the oven of the new gas stove. Jackson's eyes were red with suspicion. "You sure you're using the right paper?" "I ought to know it. I made it," Hank said. Hank was the only man in the world who possessed the chemically treated paper that was capable of raising the denomination of money. He had developed it himself. Nevertheless, Jackson watched Hank's every move. He even studied the back of Hank's head when Hank turned to put the money into the oven. "Don't you be so worried, Daddy," Imabelle said, putting her smooth yellow arm about his black-coated shoulder. "You know it can't fail. You saw him do it before." Jackson had seen him do it before, true enough. Hank had given him a demonstration 2 days before. He had turned a 10 into 100 right before Jackson's eyes. Jackson had taken the 100 to the bank. He had told the clerk he had won it shooting dice and had asked the clerk if it was good. The clerk had said it was as good as if it had been made in the mint. Hank had had the 100 changed and had given Jackson back his 10. Jackson knew that Hank could do it. But this time, it was for keeps. That was all the money Jackson had in the world, all the money he'd saved in the 5 years he'd worked for Mr. H. Exodus Clay, the undertaker. And that hadn't come easy. He drove the limousines for the funerals, brought in the dead in the pickup hearse, cleaned the chapel, washed the bodies, and swept out the embalming room, hauled away the garbage cans of clotted blood, trimmed meat, and rotten guts. All the money he could...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?